Hey guys, Corey here. Not too long ago, Jay Canal put out a video because his son was admitted to the hospital. And it was basically to show the biggest nightmare that any of us dads and moms out here on the road have driving a truck is getting that call that your child is being admitted to the hospital and being hundreds of miles, if not thousands of miles from home. I got that call yesterday, and it was literally the worst nightmare that I've ever had come true. And my son, who just turned 7 weeks, was admitted to the ER yesterday, and I was 10 hours from home. I had just gotten loaded, and I called my boss and I said, hey, we have got to make some alternate arrangements. I can't finish this load. I've had my gripes about the company I work for, but when I need them to pull through, they pull through. And she had her dad, who is a truck driver, meet me at a truck stop within about 2.5 hours from the hospital that my son was at, and he drove his personal car to me and gave me his personal car, and he took my truck and finished the load, or finished the run. This load had 4 stops on it, so they were all within fairly close proximity, but not very close to where I had to go. So he met me and gave me his car, which I'm in right now. He dropped everything he was doing, and he drove the 2.5 hours to the truck stop and waited for me, because I was a good 7 hours from that truck stop. So he went there and waited for me, and like I said, there's issues that this company has at times, but they are it's never an issue when it comes to being kind to their drivers and being good to their drivers in a strictly I want to say humanitarian way, but I don't know if that's really the word I'm looking for. They came through for me last night. But my son's still in the hospital. He had a fever of 104, almost the mid 104s. And something in his blood was abnormally high. So they told my wife to waste no time and get him to the ER ASAP. That's never a phrase or a string of words that you want to hear put together when referring to your kid. One thing to say, hey, go to the ER, do this, blah blah blah, but when you put in that sense of emergency not that it's never really not an emergency to go to the ER, but you know, I mean, you can go to the ER for fairly minor issues. But they told my wife, you know, basically just to get him to the ER. I'm kind of surprised they didn't tell her to call an ambulance, because there was a sense of urgency. And that sense of urgency just scared the crap out of me. But that was the longest drive of my career last night. I've been driving 9 years, and that was by far the longest 10-hour drive of my life. They're keeping him overnight again. I'm basically, you know, I need to bring this car back up to the yard so I can grab my Jeep, because you know, my boss's mom needs her car, so they were nice enough to give it to me, you know. So I filled the tank up just now, bringing it back to him, and then my daughter is at my mom's house, my 3-year-old daughter. So thanks to my mom too for watching my daughter while my wife was in the hospital with our son. Did I call my daughter 3-month-old? If I did, I meant 3-year-old. It's been a long night. I slept maybe 2 hours at the hospital when I got there last night. And I think before that I got about a total of 3 hours since 2 mornings ago. And I drove 10 hours straight on that. It's been a long night. But again, I know I don't have very many people out there that follow me. I think I've got about 38 subs on my channel right now. But I know, like I said, I've griped about this company before on my channel. And there are legitimate issues with this company. There really are. But when it comes to heart, that's the word I was looking for earlier. When it comes to heart, you cannot say this company doesn't have it. And that's the most important thing right there. I tell you what, as a truck driver, the most important thing is to work for a company that has heart. And they do. And I was surprised because I called the broker after I talked to my boss to tell the broker, you know, that alternate arrangements were going to have to be made for that load. And the real pain of it was, the load was already on my truck, you know. If I hadn't gotten loaded yet, it would have been a lot easier. They would have just assigned another driver. But you know, I was already under the load. So I called the broker, and I've never talked to this broker, so I was kind of expecting him to give me a hard time, even with my circumstances. But he didn't. And I wish I knew the name of the broker. I wish I knew the name of the agency, but I'm not sure. But they did not give me a single bit of hard time. In fact, the broker told me to do what I got to do. And to drive safe. Tell you what, there's a few times when it's not shameful to cry as a man, and one of those times is when you hear that your kid is admitted to the ER. Well, let me take that back. It's never shameful. I mean, it really isn't. But especially if you hear that, you know, your kid is admitted to the ER. But anyway, he told me, you know, be safe. You know, he'd keep us in his prayers. didn't know me, but he'd keep me in his prayers and get home to my boy. So I did. And I wish I knew the name of that broker. I'll have to see if I can find it. Maybe it's on my phone somewhere. But anyways, I've drawn this on long enough. I just wanted to give a shout out and say thanks to my company for, you know, going above and beyond in this instance. It means a great deal to any driver. But anyways, I'm gonna, you know, like I said, I'm just about to the yard. I'm gonna drop this car off and pick up my Jeep and run home and take a shower and then go back to the hospital. The good news is they've pretty much ruled out any of the bad stuff, like I can't remember. I want to say meningitis or something. I forget what the name of the sounds like a gums disease. I forget the name of the disease, but it's pretty much they were worried that it was this, and that's pretty much bad news for an infant. But they ruled that out, and they've ruled out pretty much all the life-threatening stuff. But they're still not sure what's causing him to have such a temperature. You know, right now he's at about 101 to 102, and it's fluctuating. It goes up and it goes down, and they aren't sure. They did a spinal tap, did a chest X-ray. They just aren't sure what's going on. So hopefully they get figured out soon. But guys, you guys have a good one, and we'll talk at you all later. All right. See ya.